Grab a plate of Pike's breakfast and let's talk about this week's
Initial thoughts. Initial thoughts. Initial thoughts.
Welcome again, Trekkies. Today we've got the penultimate episode of Strange New World's first season, All Those Who Wander. Okay, well, I've got a whole lot of don't know how I feel about this one. Right up through the last 10 minutes, I was ready to call this the best episode of the season, and I'm not sure that it's not the best episode of the season either. This was a great classic horror movie plot done better than most horror movies. Easily the best try Trek has had in the category of horror. It never feels hokey. Our first like today comes for the callback to the space station K7 that will have some trouble with tribbles in the future. As the crew have a party for Uhura and another cadet that are rotating out, I knew the moment they promoted an ensign to Lieutenant Duke, this wasn't going to end well for this gold shirt, soon to be red shirt. Speaking of which, this episode's body count does not discriminate based on uniform color. The Reaper collects a full set of Starfleet colors in this one. I've got a like for Pike again taking the Master Chef challenge to please Chef La'an with a breakfast fit for a princess in 30 minutes, including dishes. This like is also for Pike ordering Spock to do the dishes. This cooking and cleaning thing has worked really well this season for crew bonding. I'm not going to give it a like, but I had a little chuckle for more 20th century jargon from Pike about turning the station wagon around. We add what I believe is the earliest sequence number of a Constitution-class ship as NCC 1549. The USS Peregrine has crash-landed with a crew of only 100, compared to a normal complement of more than 400 for a Constitution-class ship. While Una and the Enterprise complete their delivery of power cells or a quadritriptychylene or whatever, Pike and a landing party step foot into a Resident Evil scenario where all the crew are dead, and the only survivors were a kid and an alien who can't be translated picked up by the ship who had Gorn eggs in them that hatch and tore everything apart. I've got a like for Uhura being awesome at her job again this season. Though she can't communicate, she gains Buckley the Covenant Brute's trust, and they're introduced to a girl named Oriana, who's got a story similar to La'an's. I've got a like for bringing us back to last week for just a moment, seeing M'Benga is still dealing with his daughter living in a nebula with Deb from accounting, as he becomes protective of this girl against La'an's harsh questioning. And oh hey, after the Covenant-looking dude spawns the Flood, newly minted Lieutenant Duke is the first casualty. I've got a like for La'an reinforcing Oriana's mental health throughout the episode. Discovery could take some cues from this one. Form bonds between people as you explore mental health. Don't just put trauma upon people and spend half a season's run on it. Little beats like La'an's in this one go a long way. I've got a like for Team Hamura. This is the second episode Hemmer and Uhura have gotten to work together, and their on-screen chemistry is perfection. As the crew lay a trap for the remaining Gorn hatchlings, Sam is apparently in the series for the sole purpose of showing us he isn't his brother, as he plays the part of McCoy's xeno-racism against the pointy-eared computer Spock. And for these reasons, I've got a dislike here. La'an lures the last adolescent Gorn that looks like the head of E.T. on the body of a Nyx hound from the Elder Scrolls into a freeze trap, and they turn that little guy into Jack Torrance at the end of The Shining, before La'an smashes it. Amazing wrap-up to
Resident Evil. Pike.
But we've still got 10 minutes left in the runtime. What could there be to wrap up but being retrieved by the Enterprise? Oh. Hemmer's got to go out in a moment of noble sacrifice because he's now infected with Gorn eggs. I refuse to give this a like, even though it's poignant, touching, and one of the most noble deaths we've ever seen in Star Trek. But why are we killing a main character that was only in half of the episodes of a not even complete season? If I find out this is for any reason other than the actor wanting to be written off in a death, in a Jadzia Dax, Tasha Yar kind of way, I'm not going to be happy with the producers. Even with what little we got of Hemmer this season, he was an amazing character that we were only just starting to see all the talents of. I thought when Pike asked him to telepathically neutralize the Gorn, he couldn't, but it was reminding us, oh hey, the Ionar can do that and will probably become important in a future plot. Unfortunately, there will be no future plots, unless the next episode or next season, we go on the search for Hemmer. I guess it's plausible he survives the fall, the cold kills the Gorn eggs, and he survives on a planet similar to Andoria. As we get through a very touching celebration of life for those that lost their lives on the mission, Spock walks out, and you realize this encounter changed him. Christine tries to calm him, and even as he's crushing her wrist, she gives him this look like, I'm not going anywhere. It seems we're going to see Spock's darker side coming up. And this almost feels like the Voyager episode Meld, where Tuvok has to lose all his emotional control to try and regain it. The episode isn't done dropping half the main characters, as La'an takes a leave of absence to help Oriana find home, and Uhura taking one last look at the comm station as she ends her cadet days on the Enterprise. I think what we're going to see in the final episode is that time has passed. I missed it, but someone somewhere had said there was a preseason trailer that had Uhura with the rank of lieutenant. Either way, it's really weird to end a penultimate episode on what feels like closure. I hope that means we get set up for next season with a cliffhanger. So in the grand scheme of 800 Trek episodes, where does this episode belong? I'm giving this one an initial range between 75 and 175. So far, the best episode of the season, with one to go. But if Hemmer was written out because of production nonsense, this one will lose some points. Till next week, Trek fans, I've been your host, Dustin Wing.